Well, you join me today down on one of Ringwood and District Angling Club's venues. It's the middle of February, so it's still very cold despite the fact that it's a beautiful day today. We've come down with the chance of hopefully nicking a bite or two for the cameras today. But also, more importantly, to talk about one of my favourite tactics at this time of year and favourite rig presentations, that being the solid PVA bag. I find it's a great tactic at this time of the year, through the winter and into the spring, just as the fish are starting to wake up. Reason being, it offers just that mouthful of food, but also the added attraction from that extra bit of food content in the solid PVA bag, rather than just a single hook bait. It also is good from the perspective that I can turn up, I can cast them at showing fish, and I'm pretty much sure that they're going to be presented over any bottom. The rig that I like to use for this has always incorporated the muggers. I find they're a really great pattern of hook, but I've always had to use a small amount of shrink tube or a hooker liner just to help kick that hook a little bit further, the angle as it exits. Now, with the new addition of the rigger CVR hooks in the range, that completely eliminates having to use any of this. And the rig that I've been using today is really nice and simple, but really effective, and one that I've got a lot of confidence in. To start with, I've got a lead core leader. I'm using about 2 or 3 foot of the 35-pound Camflex lead core. Onto that, I've got a size 8 ring swivel, and the lead core is attached to the big ring of the ring swivel because on today's instance, I'm actually fishing with the lead to drop off. The reason for that is I've actually got a bar halfway out to the spot that I'm fishing that comes up very high. So I need to try and drop the lead quickly to help the fish hopefully come up in the water so I can bring it back over the bar without being cut off. Now, in a normal fishing situation, if the bar wasn't there, I would not use that in a drop-off fashion. I feel there's no need to drop the lead unless it's absolute necessary. A lot of people do it all the time now as normal practice, and I don't think it can be a good thing over a built-up period of time of all these leads going into the lake, so only do it if absolutely necessary. I've then got a tail rubber cut down, just half the size that it normally is, cutting the thinner end off, and that's pushed down over to the drop-out lead insert that's inside the lead. That just helps the lead to release a lot quicker once the hook link is tensioned under the pressure of a fish picking up the bait. Next up, the rig itself. My favourite material for solid PVA bags would be the Trickster Heavy, and I'm using it in 25 £. It's a real nice supple material that folds down very nicely into the solid PVA bag. The hook, as I said, I used to use the muggers, but now I've moved on to using the rigger range CVR hooks. They're very similar when you look at them, but the difference is the eye has a bit more of an angle on it and it's slightly extended compared to the mugger. And that eliminates any need to use any shrink tubing or a hooker liner, as I've said. So to tie that rig, all I would do is start by making a small loop for the hair stop on the end of the Trickster Heavy. Once I've done that, I'm going to take my bait, normally a 12 or a 14mm pop-up. I'm going to thread that onto the piece of Trickster Heavy and secure it in place using a bait stop. Next up, we take a large covert rig ring, thread that down the Trickster Heavy and tie it in place with 2 overhand knots so that it's not going to slip, and that's always just a few mil below the hook bait. I want it quite tight to that ring so the bait isn't really far separation from the hook. I want it nice and close to the back of the hook once the rig's finished. Next up, we take our hook. I like to use the size 8s for all of my solid bag fishing. I find them the perfect size, they fit neatly inside of the bag and they're not too obtrusive. So the size 8 CVR is up next, and we thread the point of the hook through the rig ring and then obviously the Trickster Heavy through the back of the eye. All we need to do then to secure the hook is a simple knotless knot, using about 8 whippings up the back of the hook. And that is pretty much the finished rig. Once that's done, I tie a big loop at the other end so I can loop it on and off that size 8 ring swivel nice and easily if I do get a fish or I need to change my rig. And it's finished at about 4 inches, I would say. You want to keep it nice and short inside the solid PVA bag so that when the fish, does pick up the hook bait, it's feeling the weight of that lead very, very quickly. The hooks as well, they are super sharp, the new range of hooks, straight out of the packet, and they've caught me plenty of fish already. So if you're looking to try a new rig for a quick bite at this time of the year, I can highly recommend using the PVA bags in conjunction with those new rigger hooks. Get out and give it a go, and hopefully it'll put a few more fish on the bank for you.